This graph shows something terrifying. So for most of human history, the stock market and the jobs market have been pretty well aligned. If one goes up, the other goes up, and if one goes down, the other goes down. But in 2022, the year that ChatGPT came out, something really interesting happened. They started to split. The stock market continued to climb while the jobs market started to decline. But that doesn't make any sense, right? How can you have a booming stock market and yet people are out here struggling to find jobs? I mean, there's only one answer, right? It must be AI automating everyone's jobs. Well, that is what everyone assumes. And this is where it gets interesting. While most people would look at this chart and think, oh, AI came out, started taking everyone's job, companies started profiting more and more, and that's why hiring has gone down while the stock market's gone up. But if that were true, then why did the split happen in March 2022, nearly 8 months before ChatGPT was ever launched to the public? The thought thickens. So let's talk about it. Hey folks, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Erin McGough, aka Advice with Erin, and I'm here to help you feel more confident in your career. By the way, if you're a bestie who's been around for a while, you might be like, Erin, why haven't you posted a video in a few months? Because of this thing. Yeah. I wrote a book, The Secret Language of Work, hyper helpful scripts for every situation. So no more digging around for all my videos. Put it all in a book. So I don't have to tell you that the public's conversation around AI has been kind of extreme. I mean, we have CEOs of major AI companies saying that there's going to be a white-collar bloodbath.
You've described a future where cancer is cured, the economy grows at 10% a year, the budget is balanced, and 20% of people don't have jobs.
That's exactly what I was getting to, right?
And then we have experts on podcasts saying that robots are going to replace us all.
Levels of unemployment we've never seen before. Not talking about 10%, but 99%.
And maybe like you, it is truly existentially terrifying for me some days. Like, we grew up with Y2K, 2012, like end of the world stuff, kind of our thing. Well, I am not here to scare you, okay? But I'm also not here to sugarcoat things. Look, people are hurting right now. And honestly, I've been doing this for a while and people are literally always complaining that the job market is trash. However, this time it is objectively garbage. At the end of the day, the stock market is up nearly 80%, and job openings are down by nearly a third. The wealth gap continues to widen, and it makes you think, is this it? Did we break the economy? Well, as somebody who millions of people trust for career advice, it's about time that I made a video about this graph, because honestly, we've got a lot to talk about. So since late 2022, the US stock market has exploded. Of course, there's been some blips along the way, but generally post-pandemic, things have been pretty peachy. At the same time, hiring has cooled dramatically. But correlation is different than causation. Just because two things are happening at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're related. And we know that, right? Right? As I pointed out earlier, jobs didn't start to decline when ChatGPT came out. They started to decline 8 months earlier, and here's why. In March 2022, the Federal Reserve started hiking interest rates, and higher rates make it more difficult for companies to borrow, expand, and create new jobs. So while AI is certainly a factor in today's lackluster job market, it is not the sole cause. And it's really, really important when we're talking about an issue to talk about it factually and not emotionally, because it can be really hard to find solutions if you don't actually know what's causing the problem. So we know that there are several factors that have gone into why the job market is cooled. A combination of these Federal Reserve rate hikes, policy changes, post-pandemic recalibrating, to be honest, and of course, AI definitely plays a role. Well, then how the heck is the stock market still surging? Well, let's talk about the AI bubble. If you follow the news in like AI and tech, you've probably seen this graph. It's basically showing like the circular bubble thing, which I'll explain in 1 second. So the stock market has boomed, in short, because AI has supercharged a handful of mega companies. Companies that take up a lot of space in the stock market. According to JP Morgan, AI-related stocks account for 75% of the S&P 500's total gains since ChatGPT was launched. So it's not like all these companies are just doing great. A lot of companies are really struggling right now. It's just these really big companies are investing tons of capital into AI. And those companies make up a big portion of the S&P 500. These companies aren't hiring people. In fact, they're actually doing the opposite. A lot of these companies are laying off people, and they're reprioritizing and they're investing tons and tons, billions and billions of dollars in AI. And that brings us to what some economists are referring to as the AI circular bubble. Back to that graph. So NVIDIA invests in OpenAI. OpenAI buys cloud space from Oracle. Oracle buys chips from NVIDIA. NVIDIA invests in OpenAI. OpenAI buys cloud space from Oracle. Oracle buys chips from NVIDIA. And then it just goes around and around and around and around, and it makes it seem like these companies are making a lot of money and spending a lot of money, but really, they're all just sharing the money. They're all just spreading the money around, and it's just circulating in this big stew. And everybody's like, oh, the stock market's so great, but really the money's just like in like a pond, just like floating around. And many people are saying that this is eerily similar to what happened in the early 2000s with the dot-com bubble. Back then, new internet companies were investing in each other and buying all this ad space from each other, and it was creating this illusion of explosive growth and oh my gosh, .com, and then it popped. And when it did, the NASDAQ fell like 77% and it took 15 years to recover. And now Oxford economists are warning that if AI's productivity gains, the real returns, don't show up soon, we could see a similar situation here. However, when we look back through history, every new technology, every rapid innovation looks like a bubble at first. Like they always look really stupid before they transform the world. I mean, the creation of the airplane, Wright brothers were literally bullied. Okay, back to the video. But there's one thing that's really, really important. It's that innovation replaces tasks, not jobs. And then it creates new industries entirely. It's like a life cycle. We've seen this before with the car, with the computer, with the internet. Let's talk about it. Remember the movie Hidden Figures about the human calculators at NASA? Well, during the movie, NASA acquires a computer, which at that point, a computer was a person who did calculations.
Ruth, what's the status on that computer?
She's right behind you, Mr. Harrison.
And they brought in a computer, this giant clunky machine that could do calculations way quicker and more efficient than an entire department of calculators.
The IBM 7090 data processing system. It has the capability of solving over 24,000 multiplications per second.
Holy Moses, that's lightning fast.
They'll never get that to work.
Oh, it'll run eventually. And when it does, we have to know how to program it. Unless you'd rather be out of a job.
No.
And it wasn't perfect, but the potential was there. It used a ton of energy. It was breaking down all the time. No one knew how to use it. Everybody was terrified of this thing. And honestly, it was designed to kind of replace this whole department of people who would do math with a paper and pencil. Well, as we know, women like Dorothy Vaughan didn't just sit back and say, oh, well, computer's taking my job. This sucks. No, you know what she did? She went and learned how to use it. She read the whole manual, the whole book. And you know what she did? She went back to her department and she taught all the other women how to use the IBM. And you know what they did? They became not only the first coders at NASA, but some of the first coders in the world. And over time, this new industry was created where this coder became a software engineer, and then there's this whole industry of tech nowadays. I mean, my job right here wouldn't exist without people like Dorothy Vaughan. People who weren't afraid of new technology, but rather thought, how can I use this to do my job better? AI really isn't that different. And yes, it is currently overhyped, it is messy, it is being used for bad things, and it's also the beginning of a really long transformation. One that will reshape how we work, how we think, how we live, and will hopefully create a more beautiful and equitable world where people are happier and healthier, but I'll talk about that more in a minute. So no, this scariest chart in the world does not show that AI has broken our economy. It means that our economy is going through a massive growth spurt. And it's scary because it's super powerful and we don't understand it, and maybe sometimes we just want to go live on a farm with some chickens, and all this stuff seems so complicated and weird. But before you go, there is one more thing that I want to teach you about. It's what economists call Jevon's paradox. This blew my mind when I learned about it. It basically says that when technology increases efficiency, demand for the underlying work explodes. Let me give you an example. So in 2016, one of the godfathers of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, famously said that we should stop training radiologists ASAP because machines are about to replace them entirely. It's going to be a completely obsolete job.
People should stop training radiologists now. It's just completely obvious that within 5 years, deep learning is going to do better than radiologists because it's going to be able to get a lot more experience.
And yet today, almost 10 years later, radiology is one of the most in-demand jobs. And yes, the new technology that he's referring to was invented. However, all it did was create more and more and more demand for radiologists because the technology made radiology more efficient and accessible. Therefore, the demand for radiology went up. And radiologists don't just do what the technology did. They would do more than that. They would communicate with the patient and the doctor and fill out paperwork. They would do everything around what the machine is doing. So because the technology became more accessible and efficient and cheaper and faster, it created more demand for the people who are expertise in that technology. And therefore, patients have more access to this technology, which can improve healthcare all around. Like I said, I'm not here to sugarcoat things and I'm not here to terrify you. I think that our future is somewhere in the middle. But here's one really, really, really important thing that I'm gonna leave you with. AI is an incredibly powerful technology, and it will change our lives. It's not going anywhere. And with that said, in the hands of the wrong people, it can do really bad things. And AI is not efficient, and it's not perfect, and it's not even useful in a lot of cases. However, if the good people, like you watching, I know that you're a good person, sit back and say, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna interact with this, then that just leaves the weirdos. And they're gonna use the technology to do bad things. So we need the good people, we need the smart people, the conscientious people, the empathetic people to think about how this powerful technology can be used to do beautiful things and help improve the quality of humankind. So with that, I hope this video is helpful in giving you kind of a balanced and more rational take of like AI in the job market right now. You got this, and I'll see you next time.